Been enjoying it. First cigar here since about a month? 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks? Yeah, it was almost March at that point.
Weeks, yeah.
Get that Bic?
Yeah! Sadly. Let me get you, buddy. What not to do.
Hey everybody, welcome to Simple Diversion. My name is Graham.
My name is Rob.
And today we're going to be doing an introduction on cigars, or Cigars 101, or Cigars for Dummies.
However you want to say it, I like the Cigars for Dummies.
So on our channel we have people that drink whiskey and we have people that smoke cigars, and sometimes we have people that do both. But but some people that like whiskey don't know anything about cigars, and there might be this taboo about cigars.
Right.
That it's like cigarettes.
Yep. Well, just the small fact that, you know, if you like whiskey and you like all the different, what you have on your palate, what you have on the nose, you get all that from cigars too.
So today we are going to be talking to you if you are new to cigars or have any interest or just aren't sure. This is the video for you, so stay tuned.
I'm basically going to interview Graham. Graham is a cigar expert in our group of two, and not to say that I don't know anything about cigars, but
I've been smoking them longer.
He's been smoking them longer. He's the one that taught me, I would say 95% of what I know when it comes to cigars. Doesn't mean that I hadn't had a cigar before I met Graham, but I wasn't into it the way that I am today, and I'm into them today because of Graham. So Graham, I'm going to ask you, what is a cigar?
Well, cigars are made from tobacco plants.
Okay.
And for anybody that doesn't know, tobacco plants are indigenous plants,
okay,
or natives to where they grow. So that's why they don't make cigars so much in the States. It's in these 4 regions.
Yeah.
Do we know the regions?
Well, I know there is the Dominican Republic.
Yep.
There is Nicaragua,
yeah,
which I'm getting down really good. There is, give me the other 2. Cuba, and the one that ends
Honduras.
with an S. Honduras, yes. Okay. I like how I knew how it ended with an S, but not sure what it started with.
Exactly. So these are all going to be in South America. The reason why is the climate is perfect for these plants to grow, and they need a lot of sun. Cigars have 3 parts to them as well. So you have the binder and the filler, and then on the outside you have the wrapper. At the top of the cigar you have the cap, what we call. Some have a double cap, triple cap. We're not going to get into that specific stuff. We just want you to know a little bit about cigars so you can venture in. But then at the bottom we call that the foot, and that's where you light. Another interesting fact is different parts of the plant produce different parts of the cigar. So maybe leaves at the bottom of the plant that don't get as much sun might have different flavor characteristics as opposed to the ones on the top of the leaf. Okay,
so very similar to whiskey, where when you put the barrels at the top, you know, they get more sun, direct sun. So I know a lot of times when somebody catches me smoking a cigar, they compare it a lot to smoking cigarettes, or it's just as bad for you, or whatever. You can go on and on and on. But are they really the same thing as a cigarette?
They're actually quite different from each other. There's really not that much that's actually the same. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to tell you that smoking cigars is healthy for you and good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that, but anything doing within reason, or, you know, what's the phrase they always say?
Yeah.
You know, if you have a cigar once in a while, I don't think it's bad for you. It's just like...
Not succession, but I know what you're saying.
You know, like if I had a soda...
Yeah.
Or if I had drank 6 sodas a day, yeah, that's not good for me. But if I have a cigar once a week or something like that...
Or even candy, you know, if you have some candy every now and then. Or a bag of chips. You know, if you have a small bag of chips, that's fine. You eat the whole bag of chips in one day, one sitting.
That's not good. The other fun, interesting fact about cigars, they are 100% natural.
Yeah.
100% tobacco.
Whereas cigarettes have a lot of chemicals, right?
Yeah, cigarettes are made with a blended tobacco paper, and then they have a lot of chemicals that are added to it, so you really don't know what you're smoking.
Yeah. Not hating on people who actually smoke cigarettes, just comparing the two.
Because cigars get a lot of flack for it.
Right.
And that's the only reason we're talking about that. But The other thing too is cigars you do not want to inhale. They are made to draw it into your mouth, get the flavors, and release it. Yeah. Cigarettes, you inhale. Now, some people say, well, there's way more nicotine in cigars than there are in cigarettes. That's true.
It's true, yeah.
But because you're not inhaling, there's only a small percentage of that getting into your bloodstream
goes through your glands and through your gums. Okay.
So that's why
a lot smaller percent goes into your bloodstream.
Exactly, and that's why we can smoke cigars once in a while and not be addicted to them and feel like we have to smoke every day.
A quick fact here, or I don't know if it's a fact, but it's something that you told me before, that when you keep the ash on for a while, it actually keeps it warm, the cherry warm.
It insulates it.
Insulates it.
Yep. Okay. So that's why you don't want to knock it off too soon.
But then if you don't knock it off too soon, you have a lot of moments.
Son of a moment.
Where you've seen on a couple of our videos, I'm sure, that it drops on us. So.
Another thing about cigars is they can be hand rolled or machine rolled, and that's a fun fact that goes into why we love cigars so much too, because like they say with bourbon and scotch, you're drinking history.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with
they
cigars.
Put a lot of work into this, especially for the more premium cigars that are more hand-rolled, right? The
hand-rolled cigars, sometimes up to 100 people will touch that leaf
man.
By the time it gets into your hands.
Sounds nice and clean, sanitized.
And there can be years before that happens too, because the leaves have to dry out and go through a certain process, which is also another topic for another day. But know that cigars are premium, and there's a good story to each cigar and how it's made, and everything's got to be just right.
It's somewhat of a luxury.
Yes.
You know?
The other cool thing about cigars is Pinocchio smoked one. Homer Simpson smokes them sometimes.
Yep. Wow.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan does.
How
many does he smoke a day?
4 to 6, I think.
4 to 6. Wow.
I don't condone that, but I'm not against it either.
No.
If I could, I might.
I mean...
So on the outside we have a wrapper, and then inside of that we have, and we'll put up a little graphic here, we have the binder, and then inside of that is the filler. Most premium cigars are going to be long filler, which means they're using the whole leaf. The whole leaf runs the whole length of the cigar.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
And then you have short filler, which is all chopped up.
Yeah.
But most of the premium cigars are going to be that long filler.
Okay. Now this is something that I've said before, but it always kind of gets to me because it's what I think about. But when you go to Starbucks, you order a venti, a grande, or a tall.
Yeah.
Whereas here with cigars, we have a bunch of different sizes. So can you explain the different sizes for us, Graham?
I sure can. So when you hear somebody say the cigar is 6 by 50, that means it's 6 inches long by 50 ring gauge is what they use. So typically,
now do they? I'm sorry. Do they calculate that with the thickest part of the cigar, or like where you where the cap's at? So the like in the middle, probably. Yeah. Okay.
So if you have a cigar that has like a big ring gauge, it's really fat, and it's like a 58 ring gauge.
Yeah.
Most of your flavor is actually going to be coming through the binder and the filler.
Okay.
Now, if you have a really small gauge cigar, anything under 40, you get a lot of that flavor from the wrapper, which is interesting.
Huh?
And then depending on where that wrapper is on the plant, you could get cocoa, coffee, earth, leathery flavors, or maybe you get spice, pepper,
nice,
stuff like that. It just depends on where it is on the plant.
Yeah. So real quick, Graham, what are we smoking today?
This is a Cinco Vegas.
Yep.
And it's a I don't know about the size for sure, but
we actually do have a review on the Cinco Vegas.
We do, so check that out.
Check that one out after this one.
The other really cool fact about the cigar wrapper is they use a whole leaf for that. You can't chop up leaves and use different leaves. It's one leaf
on
continuously rolled. Yep. So they have to split them up when they're making cigars. The perfect leaf usually goes towards the wrapper. You can't have any holes in it or anything like that.
When you go searching for one to buy, they see the best leaf out of the ones from you.
Because you want the outside to look good. You don't want to have something with all holes and all that kind of stuff in it. So that's pretty cool too. When we talk about sizes then, so we have the ring gauge, now we have size. It's in inches, but this is a torpedo size, which means the cap is going to be
torpedo, kind of like
a triangle, or
like a sort of
it narrows.
Yeah, sort of like a missile or something from a submarine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then your smaller sizes are going to be called Robusto. You have Toros.
Okay.
You have a bunch. We'll put a graphic up right here.
I like the Perfectos.
Yeah. And then you have the biggest ones are the Churchills.
Yeah. They actually named that because of Churchill, right?
Winston Churchill is his favorite size cigar to smoke.
Do you know what it was called before that?
Probably just
a big ass cigar.
big ass cigar. I'll take the big ass.
The
size.
big ass one.
Now that we've kind of told you a little bit of backstory about what cigars are, how do we pick a cigar? What do we need to know about a cigar when we go into a tobacconist and we pick one? Well, they have mild, medium, and full body.
Okay.
And they have mild, medium, and full strength. If you are a beginner smoker, I would
Probably
suggest
want to
something
try the mild, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. That's probably cutting you off again, but now do the full bodies have more flavors than the mild?
Yes.
Or yeah. Okay.
So body means flavor.
Okay.
So it's just comparing it to like a beer.
So it's not just dark to where it's
Correct.
gonna have a bunch more nicotine and all that. It actually has something to do with flavor.
So
Nice.
so body is flavor, strength is going to be nicotine factor. So, or to you whiskey drinkers out there, ABV.
Okay.
So if you go to a full
Or NBV,
strength,
nicotine by volume.
Yes.
Ah.
if you go to a full strength body, that's going to be a lot more nicotine, and some people like that because you feel it a lot more, and you might get a little of the dizzies and the stuff like that. I typically like full body, which means flavor, and then mild to medium strength, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like smoking a cigar and then feeling like tipsy and all that.
Well, think of your cigar as medicine, and then think of Mary Poppins. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So after you're done with your cigar, if you feel a little lightheaded, just take a spoonful of sugar or a sugar cube, and you'll feel a lot better. That's why sometimes
sugar levels back up.
That's why sometimes you'll see people drink bourbon that has sugar in it, or Pepsi or something like that. So yeah, bourbon's a great what's the word I'm looking for? Matchup or
Pairing.
Pairing. Thank you. Great pairing with cigars. How long does it usually take to smoke a cigar?
That's a good question, Rob, and that depends on the size as well.
Right.
And that's something you need to take into consideration. Do you want to be sitting outside for an hour and a half?
Okay.
Or more like half hour, 45 minutes?
Right.
Because cigar smoking cannot be rushed.
Okay.
This is something that's meant to be enjoyed. Just like a glass of whiskey. You don't chug a glass of whiskey.
Right.
You don't
Just sip it.
Yes.
In a sense.
Rule of thumb is you take one draw per 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay.
You don't have to count or anything like that, but if you're constantly taking draws in, you're going to overheat the cigar.
Kind of like a pipe.
And all you're going to taste is burning.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So take your time with it and take that into consideration when you're looking for a cigar to smoke.
Now, is there? I guess it's more preference, but is there a way to
Son of a.
to like puff on the cigar, to like how much you breathe in, or not really?
You don't
breathe
want to
in,
hold
but-
your breath.
Okay.
You want to still
Right.
let your senses open, because otherwise you're not going to be getting it. But it's like sucking through a straw and then just letting it out. So
Yeah. What I do is I still breathe through my nose.
Yep. Because if you hold your breath, your nose
Right.
senses are closed and you're not getting...
So I kind of like block off my throat in a way, and then I breathe in through my nose. So it helps get those flavors too. Because just like if you hold your nose when you eat food, you don't taste it as much.
About half the flavors come from your tongue. The other half come from your what do they call that? Your
Your
no.
your nose cap. Your
sinuses.
Your sinus.
Your sinuses.
Sinuses. That's a sinus. Your nose cap. I know you're talking about full body and like the body and light and all that. Now with the Connecticut wrappers, which are more of a mild, or I'm sorry, more of a lighter color or a lighter body or whatever, does that mean that it's going to be a less nicotine or anything like that? Does it mean it's going to be less full?
No, that's
It's a very
common,
terrible way to ask.
That's a
but
common
you know what I mean.
misconception that the lighter colored cigars are going to be mild body. That's not necessarily true. So don't buy a cigar just because it's lighter, or Connecticut wrapper as we call it.
So a mild cigar can still have the same amount of nicotine as more of a fuller
It's two
body.
categories. So if it's a mild body, there's not going to be, it might just be spice and earth.
Okay.
There's not going to be cocoa, coffee,
Right,
leather.
and get all those different flavors, right.
But it could still be a full strength.
Right.
Where
Okay.
it's packing more nicotine.
Now it doesn't mean there won't be any cocoa, it's just a lot less and it's harder to find probably. Okay.
Yeah, typically a mild cigar you might get woodiness and
Okay.
then some pepper and spice.
Yeah, okay. What all do you need to smoke a cigar or to get a cigar?
Well, the first thing you need is a cigar.
Oh yeah, we got that.
Gotta get your cigar. Next thing you're gonna need is a cutter.
Okay.
Because you have to remember cut the cap off.
Yep, because the cap is closed.
Yep, and that's another video we can do too on where to cut and how to cut, but it's not too bad. Usually if you're going to the tobacconist to smoke, they'll cut it for you if you're not comfortable.
Well, I used to, way back in the day, I would just cut off like a huge chunk and not even know that there was a cap. And I would think, oh, that's all I got to do is cut the end off somewhere. And then, yes, it would still light, and yes, you could still, you know, smoke the cigar, but you're really messing it up.
Well, it's going to unravel because that's where they bring the wrapper together. And because if you cut too far in, now
how do they keep that together? Is it just because it's so tight, or do they don't put glue or anything?
A little bit of glue.
Okay.
A certain type of glue. I'm not gonna.
It's probably
not like Elmer's.
It's probably like a non-toxic.
Yes,
glue.
It's the same that they use for the label to go on.
Okay, cool.
And the third thing that you need is a lighter.
What kind of lighter?
You can use a soft flame, even a Bic lighter, or a butane lighter.
Yeah.
Some people say that the flavor will change if you use a butane lighter, and you should use soft flame. But if you're outside, it's almost impossible to use a soft flame because the wind. So we use butane,
especially how the climate is. Like if you're up here where we are.
Yeah.
So, are you able to use matches, or does that kind of mess with the flavor?
You can use matches, but typically you want to toast your cigar, so you just you don't want to put it into the flame. You want the flame to just kind of kiss it.
Well, because I know you don't really want to burn the cigar, or else that's all you'll get is that burning flavor for like the next 10-15 minutes probably.
Exactly.
So, okay.
But then you are ready to go, and you know there's some cigar etiquette, but there's really no right or wrong way. You can smoke it however you want.
Do you eat the stub afterwards?
You can. It's kind of like when
people actually do. They
when
chew
women
it, right?
give birth and they eat the placenta. You know, you can eat the stub if you want, but
it's like giving birth. You heard it.
I don't get down like that. So no, I
we have
just
heard
chuck mine.
People doing that. I took my first sip of the bourbon while smoking the Cinco Vegas, and man, what a great pairing with Basil Hayden's. We tend to, whenever we do drink while smoking our cigars, we tend to lean toward bourbon.
Typically, I feel like Scotch is too expensive and the flavors change, whereas bourbon, they both enhance each other.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's like mashed potatoes and gravy. Like
It really is.
My mashed potatoes alone are kind of dry. It's like once you add that gravy, it's just wow. Any questions out there?
Now, Graham, is there a special time and place to smoke a cigar?
You know, and that might depend on the body too.
Okay.
Some people like to do a mild body in the morning. Maybe pair that with coffee. It doesn't have to be whiskey. Mm-hmm. Some people like to pair it with beer.
Coffee is a good pairing. Beer, yeah.
And then some of the full body cigars are more like a dessert.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be, but that's just when some people prefer to have those. Like if I'm gonna have a full body, a full strength, it's probably gonna be at night.
Yeah.
When I'm kind of winding down. I don't want to have a full body, full strength in the morning, and then just feel like tired all day or something like that.
Well, I hear a lot of people talking about, and I say like they talk about, but I've had them too. But the difference between infused cigars and I guess natural cigars.
Sure.
So the difference between infused, right, is they just infuse it with flavors like blueberry or vanilla or something like that, right?
Yeah, and some people like that a lot, and some people start with that because...
Now, is that natural, or is that when it becomes more of a...
Everything's natural, but they powder the tips.
Okay, with
that, where you were talking about blueberry...
Okay.
Chocolate, stuff like that. But some people smoke those first because it kind of gets them to like it. Mm-hmm. And it's like you got to drink whiskey for a little bit to be able to distinguish the flavors that you're getting. It's the same thing with cigars. You're not gonna smoke your first one and be like, yes, chocolate, wood, coffee, cocoa, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you 3 more questions, if that's okay.
Sure. I'm probably getting the sun in my face.
I know you got a lot. You know, you got a lot to do here. If you really get into cigars and you want to purchase and collect or whatever, how do you store your cigars? Like, I know there's humidors, wineadors, and maybe we can make a video about the differences between that or how to make one. But what are those used for to keep them?
Yeah,
you know.
So if you're just gonna go and you're going to the shop, you're buying a cigar and you're gonna smoke it that day, that's fine. You don't need anything. But if you're gonna buy a handful and you need to store them for a while, you're gonna want to invest in a humidor, and you need to keep it at the proper temperature and the proper humidity percentage. Otherwise, they'll dry out or they'll get too moldy depending on where you store them. You want to keep them out of sunlight. We are going to do a humidor setup, so we can get more into that. But it sounds like a lot right off the bat, like a big commitment. But it really isn't. It's not much at all.
Right.
There's cheap ways to go about it. There's expensive ways to go about it.
Right.
So you can get different size humidors.
Start off small, and then go big.
I always tell people, just if you're like, I just want to get into cigars a little bit. I just want to get a 50 count or a 25 count. Double that, because when you start collecting, you're gonna fill that puppy up right away, and then you're like, oh, now I need to buy a new humidor right away. So just go bigger than what it says, because humidors also say if they're a 50 count, that's Robusto size. That's the small size.
Okay.
So you're probably gonna fit maybe 30 Toros or
10
Coronas
Churchills
in there. Yeah, 10 Churchills.
Well, Graham, I am enjoying this cigar with you, and
that's, I guess, the last thing that I would like to touch upon is why smoke a cigar.
okay.
And there's two pieces. A, the flavor, just like a nice whiskey, you're getting those flavors and it's relaxing.
Yeah.
But then B is, I feel like it's an old time hobby where it brings people together, like we've talked about. It's social. We just enjoy a good conversation, and
seems to always be pretty good conversations too, and you get to, in my experience, really get to know the people you surround yourself with, and it just kind of opens you up. So with me, I can be very quiet sometimes, but then once I sit down and have a cigar with somebody I haven't really spoke to, it all of a sudden it's like, hey man, how's it been? You know, very social.
If you're on the fence and you don't know a whole lot about cigars, hopefully this video gives you a little bit of insight of what cigars are and just how cool that they are, and that's what interests us, is just like with the whiskeys. It's just all the work that goes into it, the time that goes into it, and the flavors that we get out of it, and the good times.
Graham, I do have one more question.
One more question.
And this might be a hard one.
Oh boy.
Okay.
This is unscripted, by the way, so I don't know.
What happens if a cigar burns out midway through? Can you relight it? Can you, what do you relight it with? Do you throw it out?
That's a good question. So if you smoke too fast,
and why does that happen?
It gets too hot, right?
Okay.
If you smoke too slow, it could go out.
Okay.
The more you relight a cigar, the more you're kind of changing those flavors.
Okay.
And it's taken away from the cigar. So the more you smoke cigars, the better you'll get at knowing kind of how often to take a puff and to not let it go out like that. You can relight it. Just make sure you're not putting the torch, right up on it.
Yeah. Kind of have it at a distance.
Some people say, I'll smoke it later. I don't agree with that, because some cigars, if you have it out for 2 hours, it's already getting dried up and the flavors are already kind of diminished.
Yeah.
I don't.
So is that kind of what happens when you don't get the humidor? You just let it, like, let's say you go out and buy one cigar. Oh, I'm gonna have this with my son, or like 2 cigars. I'm gonna have one with my son here in a couple weeks, and just leave it sitting on the counter.
That's gonna dry out.
It's gonna dry out.
You're just gonna be smoking ash, or there's not gonna be any flavors in it. You're just gonna get the.
Even if you keep it in that like bag that they give you and everything.
Yeah, because those bags aren't sealed tight, really. And there's no humidity in there.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to just get a handful, I know what you did in your
I would get like 4 or 5, and then I'd put it in a little, what do they call that?
Storage humidor. Travel humidor. And you just put like a pillow in there, a humidity pillow. That will hold your cigars for probably up to a month.
Okay. Nice.
This was fun. I like the education. I like talking to people about our passions.
Something a little different too. We're not just reviewing the cigar.
Yeah.
We're going to, really close to our year mark.
I'm getting a suntan.
It's really close to our 1 year mark. We just wanted to explain, I guess, kind of why we smoke cigars and why cigars are in our Simple Diversion community and how to do so. Yep. So kind of get you guys to understand that.
Mashed potatoes and gravy.
Mashed potatoes and gravy.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this video helped you. And let us know if there's any other questions you have. Hopefully we can answer it. This is just 2 guys following our passion. We are not tobacconists or professionals. But if you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe in the corner here. so that you can see all of our new videos coming out.
And click that little bell thing over in the corner too if you want to know when our next video comes up to get a notification.
Take care, and don't forget to have a whiskey in one hand and a cigar in the other, with good company at your side.
And just love everything, including cigars.
All right, guys, take care, and as always,
We'll see you soon.
see you soon.